Good morning, friends. Welcome to your math review today. We are having a pizza party. So we're going to be learning some math fractions and we're going to be using my favorite food, pizza. So grab some paper and a pencil because you're going to want to write this stuff down so you can answer the questions that follow in the Google form. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let's go. We are, and you can see we're having a pizza party and we're going to compare fractions. So the first picture that we see is a 1/4 and 1/3. Let me explain what's going on here. So I want you to imagine that you, my sweet friends, are at a pizza party and you are so hungry, and the pizza that they're serving is your favorite kind. So I wonder if any of these are your favorite kind. We got pepperoni and mushrooms, pepperoni and one olive. So it's your favorite kind. Maybe it's just cheese. And you get to choose where you sit. But you're really hungry, remember that. So you want to get the table that has the biggest slices. So let's look at our tables. So this first table right here, we have 4 people who are sitting at this table. So 1/4 is the slice that you would get with the pizza. At this table is being shared with 3 friends. So you would have 1/3. Now you can see that 1/4 is smaller than 1/3. So repeat after me. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. Say it again. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. Excellent. So we're going to look over here. 1/2, this is the birthday cake. Do you want 1/2 of this slice of cake? Or this slice that's the same size, do you want 1/3? So if I shade in 1/3 and I shade in 1/2, you can see that my 1/2 is much bigger. So 1/2 is greater than 1/3, or we could write 1/3 is less than 1/2. So the numerators are the same, so we find the denominator with the smallest number of pieces because your pieces are going to be larger. So I'm going to scoot this up. So I wrote this out. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. Pause your screen and write this down. Trust me, you're going to want to write it down. Did you write it? Okay, good. So we have 2/4 and 2/6. So now you get 2 out of 4 or 2 out of 6. The numerators are still the same. So we're going to be comparing, the denominator is going to be helping us to compare. So 2 out of 4 or 2 out of 6. You're going to have smaller pieces the bigger your denominator is. So because the 4 is smaller than the 6, we're actually going to have bigger pieces. So going back, the 4th and the 6th, if you go back up here and you think about the 4th, because you can take it right back down to the unit fraction. So in your head, you could think 1/4 or 1/6. Well, we've learned the smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. So we're going to like this. So clearly 2/4 is bigger than 2/6. We also can compare to 1/2. 2/4 is equal to 1/2. They're equivalent. And we're going to learn more and more about equivalent fractions as we move through this focus unit. What is 1/2 of 6? 1/2 of 6 is 3. So I should write that the other way. 1/2 of 6 is 3, so 3/6. So 2/6 is less than 3/6. So this 1/2 is the same as 3/6. So that's how you can use 1/2 to compare. We'll have another video on that in just a few minutes. We're going to go over here to these fractions. Now, all of these numerators are the same. So we're going to pick the fraction that has the smallest denominator because it's going to have the largest pieces. So 3/6 or 3/8. So 3/6 is larger. Good. And now we're going to do this one. 9/12 or 9/15. which is greater? Now, if you remember, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. When I was first teaching this, sometimes I would forget the little trick, the little saying that I wrote. And so then I would remind myself, wait a minute, think about this. Take a sandwich and cut it in half. Do I want half of it or do I want a third of it? I definitely want half, because I could picture a half and a third, and that would trigger my brain to remember that 1/2 is indeed bigger than 1/3. So if you need to do that, just picture that 1/2 or 1/3 or 1/4 in your brain, and then you'll be able to see it. Okay. Now the way you remember that is by drawing it or writing it. So I encourage you to pause these videos and write what you see. Try this one right now. Go ahead and pause and try. Okay. So I'm hoping that you remembered that the smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. So 1/2 is bigger than 1/10. Of course, we'd want to share a pie or a piece of cake or allowance or whatever you're sharing, because fractions are dividing. We want to share with the smallest amount of people if we want to get the most, right? The smallest denominator. Okay, so go ahead and answer the questions that follow down below, and then there'll be one more video about comparing to halves. Bye, friends.